It's T Mike here in South Louisiana making another video. So this video is going to be how to change the impeller and test it on a 1984 15 horsepower Evinrude. So if everybody's ready, here we go. So I made a video of this motor earlier, deciding to try to make a restore out of it because it was pretty good shape, and I've checked for spark and compression and it's got both, and I actually started it up and it ran. So I put it in the barrel outside here in my shop and it started up, ran great, but it's not putting out any water. It's not spitting out water. So there's either a bad impeller or we have a blockage somewhere. So I'm gonna make this video and try to show you how to determine that and how to fix the problem. We'll walk through it. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to take the gear case off of the lower unit, and I'm going to give you a better close-up view of how to do that right now. Alright, now we got a good view on a rainy, cold day here in Louisiana. So first thing I did before getting too deep into seeing if this lower gear case is any good is I pressure tested it. So I drained all the oil, all the drain plugs here, put the bottom plug back in, put in my handy dandy pressure tester, pumped it up. I've actually pumped it to about 8 pounds. The specs say you should pump it to 7 pounds and it should hold it and drop no lower than 5 pounds in a 24-hour period. So I've pumped it up to 8 pounds and it's held for two hours or better. So I'm gonna say it's good. When we get through with the repairing of the impeller, I'll do a final test on it and make sure it holds at least 7 pounds for 24 hours. That's how you do that. So let's get the pressure tester off of her. And now we're going to remove the gear case. So there's 6 bolts here that are 3/8 bolts that you have to take off. The gear case will separate and there should be a shift rod connector in between there that will disconnect to be able to get it all the way off. So I'm going to take off the bolts right now. The one we've been looking for, the last one. Careful now. This gear case might just fall out. Just kidding, can't fall out. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a shift rod connector right there that's got to be taken out. I'm going to get you a closer look. So if you can see it, there's a connector right here. It takes a 3/8 inch nut driver, slider in between the two pieces. Had a little trouble getting it out, but we got it, and immediately the gear case started to drop. And there she is. She's pulled out. There's the impeller housing. We got to get to that puppy and see how she's doing. But first, we're going to put it in a barrel of water and put a drill on the end of it and spin it, see if it's putting out water or not. That's the test. All right, so I got me a tub of water here. Actually a waste can that I filled with water. I'm gonna drop the lower unit in there. Right. Once the gear case is in there, just have to make sure that that the water pump is underwater. Take you a 1/2-inch drill, put it on the end of the drive shaft. Spin the drive shaft. You ought to see water coming out of the water pump. Actually, I do see some, but very little. That impeller is not producing enough. I'm gonna give you a closer picture. Right, so you can see that it is pumping some water, but it's not enough. It ought to come out 3 or 4 inches high to get to. So I'm gonna put it on the bench and we're gonna change the impeller now. All right, let's take that puppy apart and see what we got. Put my handy dandy C-clamp on my bench here, keep her from moving around. And there's 4 bolts. These are 7/16 bolts. You take those off, the housing ought to slide right up and off, and we ought to see the impeller. Alright, slide the housing up the shaft. The impeller came out with it. There's a pin, a roll pin that holds the impeller in place. And here's the impeller. And it actually doesn't look too bad. Not bad at all, but we're going to change it anyway. Alright, so I got my new impeller. Tell it's new because the fins aren't bent on it. And the part number on this puppy is an 18-3050 from Sierra Parts. So the way I do it, take the roll pin, goes back on the shaft here, put a little grease on it. Apply a little grease, it makes it stick on the shaft. Comme ça. And then we'll take the new impeller and we'll apply some oil on it. I use 3-in-1 oil. Rub it up real good with it all, make it spin inside the housing. Then put it in the housing. Now your housing is going to sit like this. Well, the way I do it is I would go over the top of the drive shaft with it. And there's a slot in the impeller. And the impeller fits over the roll pin. Alright? Then I take me a vice grip, apply and put it on the head of the drive shaft. Lock it on, and drive shaft always spins clockwise. Alright, I don't know if you can see that, I'm gonna back you up. spinning the drive shaft clockwise. All right, now take your impeller housing. It's on that bad boy like this. And it's going to sit right on top of the impeller. Take your pliers, put it back on the shaft. Rotate it clockwise until the housing slips right on it. That way the fins are bent in the proper direction. And then we're going to put our four bolts back on. Tighten her down and test her out. Stay tuned. Alright, so I got the gear case back in the water with my drill on it, and I'm going to spin it. I don't know if you could tell or not, but it's got 2 to 3 times more water coming out. So I'm going to stab that puppy back on here, put it in the barrel, and see what we got.